Victor Gyokeres fuels Manchester United interest as he opens up on his Premier League desire as Ruben Amorim eyes reunion with Sporting Hitman. He's been linked with Arsenal as well as other clubs. Probably not what Arsenal fans want to hear. Personally, I think Arsenal, and I don't know anyone that it works for Arsenal, but I think there's admiration. I think he's on the shortlist. But I think when you look at the media rumours to actually Arsenal's probably interest, if you was to ask the decision makers, I don't think they're as keen on Gyokeres as reports suggest. I know fans are, and I definitely am. The 26-year-old scores goals for fun. The only game I've seen him play in and not get any hype was obviously when he bucked into Saliba and Gabriel. And it's natural that several sporting players will be linked with Man United, and it's not too unimaginable to expect a couple of people from sport and jump ship and have a reunion with Amorim at Manchester United. We obviously know the return on investment since they've signed him from Coventry has been amazing. Apparently, he's revealed his aim is to one day return to England. Of course, it moving to Sporting was different because I had the goal of playing in the Premier League. That was my focus, and the adjustment was difficult, but I thought about it. I talked to those around me who helped me a lot. It started to look more and more like it was the right thing to do, play in the top team and have more chances during games, which is true. And to be fair with you, I can't begrudge him for having an allure to want to play in the Premier League, especially because he was so close but so far owing to his days at Brighton where he went on loan and obviously was playing in the second division at Coventry and doing his thing. So I understand beyond the obvious why he'd want to be linked, want to move back to the Premier League. He's also been linked with Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain. I don't know if that tips the 26-year-old's thinking, in which you'd imagine at 26 years of age, arriving now and being a relative household name to football fans, the next move is very important. In the end, it seemed like it was the best choice for me. Apparently, United are in pursuit of him, and it'd be expected that it will demand a transfer fee of 70 million. Apparently, that move could be funded by selling players. As you know, Marcus Rashford has been linked with a move away. So the headline to actually what he said there, we didn't learn too much. If you're an Arsenal fan, look away now. Declan Rice will allegedly miss Arsenal's Carabao Cup quarter-final tie with Crystal Palace tonight in a few hours. Join me for a watch-along. Arsenal have been linked with another player struggling at Chelsea, Dewsbury Hall. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. Apologies, people. Now he plays centre mid. You could use him as squad depth. Don't really think this is the player to take Arsenal to the next level or make a significant impact, people. The January transfer window is only a couple of weeks away from opening, and it seems that Arsenal are ready to sign Chelsea's Dewsbury Hall. The Blues are open to offers as the midfielder hasn't hit the heights expected, and they hope to recoup their investment. I mean, it's a difficult task trying to get in ahead of Enzo Fernandez, Lavia, who's been able to stay fit and doing quite well. And obviously the same goes for Caicedo. And, you know, with it being your former manager, Maresca, it's got to be a difficult decision, but it's just levels. I'd imagine there's more chance of him going back on loan to Leicester or clubs of that ilk before Arsenal signing people. Allegedly, Maresca has already made 2 Chelsea players available for sale, and another Chelsea star has been suspended, obviously with Mudryk. Dewsbury Hall has only had 5 appearances this season, and even when you look at the players that are struggling, even if you were playing week in, week out for your club and whatnot, it is a difficult task to move from one club to another in January. Yes, he's played in England. He's quote-unquote Premier League proven. I think he's got a good left foot. I think he's got a good engine. Actually think he's a decent midfielder and a good squad player. Can't begrudge him for signing for Chelsea, even though you'd struggle. It's an opportunity of a lifetime for him. But I don't think Arsenal should be interested. We were interested in the summer. Allegedly, I do remember reports here and there that was interested. Obviously, Arsenal have done recent business with Chelsea. We've signed Kai Havertz, signed Jorginho, recently acquired Raheem Sterling on loan. So it isn't too far-fetched, but for me, I don't think it makes sense. And even for Dewsbury Hall, if you've accepted that you're going to leave Chelsea, assuming that's the case, obviously Arsenal are playing in the Champions League, we're fighting for a league title, as are Chelsea. In terms of the league title fight, it would be a good move. Stay in London, learn from Mikel Arteta, play with some exciting players. There are some positives, right? But game time, you know, because for me, you'd be a good option for depth. I don't really want him at the club, but you'd be a decent option for depth. But are you necessarily going to play ahead of Thomas Partey in midfield, Declan Rice in midfield? Obviously not, but to paint a picture, Martin Odegaard in midfield, recent summer signing Mikel Merino in midfield. Is it even guaranteed? You know, the one thing Jorginho lacks that you have is an engine, but is it guaranteed you're ahead of Jorginho in the pecking order? I'm not too sure, people, but I've seen weirder things happen. Allegedly, a number of clubs are circling for Dewsbury, who apparently sources have also advanced that Leicester City's former club, Fulham, Rangers, Spurs, Aston Villa, Newcastle United, Brighton, Brentford, and actually Manchester United are all maintaining a watching brief. You know, Spurs, you could get game time. Villa, they got some good midfielders, but I reckon that's good. Rangers, you definitely get game time. Fulham are exciting under Marco Silva. Good move for you, even though Sander Berge and Lukic are doing quite well. Leicester, I mean, trying to help them stay in the league and whatnot on loan, I think that's very feasible. And Newcastle's a massive club to play for, really. So it all depends what you read. Again, it wouldn't be Arsenal transfer rumours without Kivior being linked with a move away. Allegedly, Arsenal are open to the idea of letting Jakub Kivior leave on loan in the January transfer window, but that doesn't make a move to Napoli simple to do, allegedly, people. In that regards. And apparently they're searching for a replacement due to an injured player. Now, you'd get more first team football allegedly at Napoli. You'd move back to Italy. I'm sure Naples is a lovely place to live. Obviously, learning from Antonio Conte, go and do that. But does it make sense for Arsenal to loan you out and loan you out without an obligation to buy, where it's essentially a permanent move in similar fashion to Nuno Tavares and Guendouzi a few years ago? Does it make sense to actually let you go when we've got a small squad, or is it a case of the summer? As I keep saying, for whether it's their age, their contract, injuries, all, wages, squad depth, rebuilding the squad, whatever you have to say, you can make a case of Tomiyasu, Thomas Partey, Jorginho, Kivior, Zinchenko, Martinelli, Trossard, and probably a couple of players I haven't said leaving the club or making a move. Gabriel Jesus making a move from the club, but it doesn't make sense, in my opinion, in January. Kivior is an easy one to link around the transfer period because he's only, respectfully to him, going to get game time when there is injuries or suspensions or players have been run into the ground. You're not going to, if everybody's fit, you could make a case of Calafiori playing centre half ahead of him, Timber playing centre half ahead of him, Benjamin White playing centre half ahead of him, maybe even Tomiyasu playing ahead of him. Obviously, on the left-hand side, I don't know if, whether him or Zinchenko, which one, but Zinchenko could be ahead of him. Lewis Skelly's emergence in that position, a fit Tomiyasu, of course, a fit Timber, of course, a fit Calafiori, of course. So game time is limited for Kivior, and I do think he's at that stage now where I think you're a good squad player, but I don't think you're going to significantly improve in the game time you get at the club. I mean, this is someone that Arsenal might sell in the summer, beyond the obvious, because again, being linked and Arsenal actually having official bids from other clubs to make a decision is another thing. But he seems to be one of the players that really has a lot of interest. I know every now and again, Partey is linked with a move away, Trossard's linked with Saudi, this one and that one. But, again, no official bids. But whenever you see Kivior, 1 minute it's Napoli, then it's AC Milan, then it's Bologna, then it's Inter Milan, then it's Juventus, if I haven't said them, then it's Napoli. Then every now and again it's Villarreal and Sevilla and clubs of that ilk in Spain. So he's got a decision to make, man. And you wonder why he didn't leave in the summer. Thank the Lord he didn't, because we need as many bodies as we can get, people, if I'm honest with you. More likely to see, in my opinion, Kieran Tierney depart in January. Now, Ademola Lookman, Europa League winner, hat-trick scoring Europa League winner, doing very well at Atalanta, contracted until 2026. So this is a very important period for him. Recently crowned African Footballer of the Year. And, I'm sure beyond his wildest dreams, he's achieving stuff. He's a great player. Would love him at Arsenal. And he's been linked with Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool. Allegedly, he's made his mind up regarding his next destination. All three clubs are seeking to add a centre forward. Now, he can play on the left, on the right, and through the middle. At Arsenal right now, he slots in off that left-hand side in place of Trossard, Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, or the non-existent, owing to a lack of game time, Raheem Sterling. At 27 years of age, does he reckon he wants to make the step back to the Premier League, where his name will be in higher regards than it was when you was at Everton and you was at Fulham and things like that? He's got 11 goals and 5 assists in 19 games, and he scored against Real Madrid, but forget the goal, because we've seen Mudryk play well against them. His performance was great, and at 27 years of age, he's in his peak powers. Apparently, he could be going to Liverpool, people. Apparently, he's prioritized the move to Liverpool ahead of Chelsea and Arsenal, courtesy of Anfield Watch. Lookman's reps openly told Liverpool in the summer that they would like to move to Anfield. This is largely down to the player wanting a return to the northwest of England, where he previously played for Everton. Manchester City were also made aware of his desire to join them. Atalanta ultimately priced anyone out of a move for Lookman, probably because they wanted to get him to sign a new deal. But the player still harbors desires to move back. He even's holding onto a house in the area just in case a January move can happen. Who knows, man? I can't go as far as to say he would be a replacement for Salah or even Diaz that you're seeing here, but he'd be a welcome addition. He could be available for a relative cheap price. I say relative owing to his contract running down. He's obviously versatile. He's had some good and bad moments, more so good of recent, but he's had some good and bad periods. He's did very well coming through at Charlton. Didn't really do anything of note at Everton and Fulham. Fulham is probably known for that missed penalty. Went Leipzig on loan. Obviously went to Atalanta, and it's like he's a new player. So you've had some good, you've had some bad, you've had some different kind of moments in your career, and at 27 you take the good, bad, and you're ready to deliver. And at 27 he's in the best age to get the best possible wages, the best possible length of contract, and whatever he deems as an important move or the right move or the biggest potential move, exaggerating a bit, but career to date, where various degrees of interest, and whether these clubs are bidding is another thing. But you've got Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea all onto you. He was aggressively linked with PSG in the summer as well, so he's got a decision to make. People, Arsenal allegedly have been handed a surprise boost in their pursuit of West Ham superstar Mohamed Kudus. We're not signing Donny in January. Yeah, if you put the 85 million pounds, apparently he's got a release clause, get it done. I don't really believe that. And we've been linked with a whole host of names: Benjamin Sesko, Victor Gyokeres, Vlahovic, Marcus Thuram, Victor Osimhen, Isaac, João Pedro, and etc., etc. Nico Williams, if I didn't make that clear. We've at the Athletic said we've got an interest in Xavi Simons. We'd love Arsenal to sign Kudus. We should have signed him, people, when he left Ajax initially. Apparently, they're softening their stance on letting him go. But would you want him to go in January, where West Ham are fighting for whatever they're trying to salvage this season? Apparently, he has 103 million euros in brackets, 85 million release clause in his current contract with the Hammers, and it's believed that Arsenal will need to lodge a similarly eye-watering bid to land him. I mean, if you sign him and then you kind of get a cut price forward, great. But surely the big money addition is going to be a striker. Saying that, there is scope to, obviously, if you could get someone that could put up Saka numbers on the left-hand side, or even 50% of that, we could get away with stuff. So we'll have to see. We have bought a player from West Ham before for big money, but yeah, man, I mean, there's a couple of players at West Ham I would take. Wouldn't mind Kudus at all. Would not mind Jarrod Bowen. Wouldn't be against Paqueta, even though I've kind of gone off the. I used to really hype Paqueta, but I've kind of gone off the boil a bit. But West Ham are not going to let him go cheaply. They're definitely not going to let him go in January cheaply. Apparently, Alex Crook has said they're willing to cash in on Kudus if they get a big money offer in January. Again, if. And we have seen simultaneous rumours that Arsenal will only move in short in the market if there's a massive injury crisis or there's a bid or a move that's too far to turn down. So as much as it arouses my imagination, and I'm not saying it's impossible, weirder things have happened. I don't really see it, people. Apparently we'd need to sell players to fund the transfer. Wasn't that what was said in the summer? I don't know, people. And that doesn't correlate, because if you tried to get Nico Williams and tried to get Rafinha and it wasn't ever, I can't see too many sales there. I don't know. And a big part of what the rumors said in the summer is that where you look at when we sold Ramsdale, Smith Rowe and Nketiah, we had a positive net spend. So it does feel like we're going around the houses a bit. But that's where Kudus, Lookman, Kivior and Gyokeres are concerned so far. Vlahovic sent Arsenal and Mikel Arteta a transfer message on Tuesday with a fantastic goal and impressive performance for Juventus. I mean, creative journalism. Whether it's down to his contract, whether it's down to bust up with teammates or fans, it seems like Vlahovic's days at Juventus are numbered. We've previously been linked with him before. Obviously, we'd love reinforcements in January, and we need a striker long term, if I'm honest. So it's very easy to link us with him. He's contracted until 2026, like Ademola Lookman. So there have to be serious conversations in the summer around his long term future at Juventus if it isn't being done already. He's the highest paid player in Serie A with 12 million per season salary. So we'll have to see, really. If a new contract cannot be agreed soon, which seems unlikely, Juventus will have no option but to sell Vlahovic in one of the next two transfer windows to avoid losing him on a free transfer in 2026, people. Vlahovic's value will be lower in the summer than it will be in January, so Juventus know they'll make more by selling him next month. The second reason for selling Vlahovic is his inadequate performances on the pitch. There's also been rumours of a swap deal with Gabriel Jesus going that way and us getting Vlahovic. Apparently, he rejected the Emirates in favour of joining Juventus for 80 million euros from Fiorentina in January of 2022. So 3 years later, in January of 2025, could he finally get that move to the Emirates, people? We'll have to see. He did get, in his first full season, he got 14 goals in 42 games, people. Last season, he found the net 18 times in all comps, people. Currently, he's got 11 goals in all comps, which is almost double, really, what our top goal scorer, which is probably Havertz and Saka, have. So you could say there could be something. Obviously, they're linked with Joshua Zertsky. Maybe there's a case of a merry-go-round in that regards, people. Jonathan David, whose contract is running up, people. Apparently, Leo have said they have no intention of selling him in January. Marcus Rashford has been linked with Arsenal in the best of days. People think they can get a tune out of him, or Mikel Arteta can get a tune out of him. We've all heard or seen now Marcus Rashford's interview. Apparently, Manchester United are keen to sell him. Rashford has said he's keen on a new challenge. I think Arsenal will start being linked with a loan move for Marcus Rashford, in which I'm not saying I'm definitely not for it. I'm not 100% against it, and I'm definitely not for it, if I'm honest with you. We've already got unanswered questions and damaged goods, and our own players that need a trick out of them. Why add another one, as talented as he might be, with the illusion of Marcus Rashford, what he looks on YouTube? If we could add that, great. But need to get a tune out of Martinelli, need to get Trossard back on song. No clue how we get over the line about Gabriel Jesus. Raheem Sterling doesn't play, so that's probably not a conversation itself, but you need to get something out of him. Collectively, we're not getting the best of all aspects out of our team. So why add another unanswered question? I don't know, people. This was just in relation to Kivio. In fact, no, it's not. Apparently, Arsenal have been linked with a goalkeeper, if it will convert to English and allow me. Apparently, Premier League sirens are becoming increasingly insistent on Marco Kenosesi, who's clearly a goalkeeper at Atalanta, people. Arsenal have been linked with him potentially as a deputy for David Raya. And, goalkeeper, I know all the talk is around, for me, central midfield, specifically at 8, a versatile wide man, clearly a striker. I'm not necessarily against another defender, but we are going to have to sort out our goalkeeping situation, people, and see what's going on in that regard. And yeah, as I said, apparently we're weighing up a move for the 24-year-old Atalanta goalkeeper, people. So we have to see. Neto could be signed permanently. Hasn't kicked a ball for Arsenal. Loan contract does expire, obviously at the end of the season. This says he's got impressive form. Apparently, the Atalanta shot stopper has the same agent as Ricardo Calafiori. Arsenal were apparently first linked with him all the way back in 2020, people. So there could be an element of long-lasting interest in the individual, people. Arsenal and Liverpool have both been linked with Charles de Calater, who, is finding his feet after not really working out at AC Milan, another player that's playing for Atalanta. I mean, Liverpool are going to be linked with a lot of attackers for obvious reasons, Salah's contract, etc. Arsenal would surely do well to bring in de Calater, I can't pronounce his name, who looks like he'd give Mikel Arteta something a bit different in the attacking midfield department. Can play up front as well, people. He's very versatile, but, this says 60 million euros, so that's about 50 odd million quid. It's not too far-fetched for the 23-year-old Belgian, but can we see that happening? I don't know, people. What Arsenal actually did regarding signing Marcus Rashford from United in the summer. Ooh, what's going on here? Apparently, he's been on their radar before. I know they did look at signing Rashford last summer, and they did inquire about it. And now that he's available, there's not many teams going to be in there, and you could go back and get him. I hear that, man, but I'm not really for it. He's been poor for 18 months. I mean, he's 27, so it's now time to deliver. Maybe a change of environments could be the spark he needs. And who doesn't want it to work out for Rashford? We all love an underdog. For obvious reasons, how certain players were treated after they missed the Euros and how the media get on. We back him. You don't want to see anyone down on their luck. And we like Rashford, especially with his charitable work off the field. I'm rooting for him. I want Rashford to get back to his best. I just don't want it to be at Arsenal Football Club. I wouldn't cry if we signed Rashford. I just don't think it's the right movements to be making, people, if I'm honest with you. Mikel Arteta believes winning the Carabao Cup can offer trophy springboard for Arsenal. The man himself said, I think so. I fully believe in that. The fact that you are winning and you get into the next round, it creates something different around the team. And that's why these games are so important. It's really helpful. It brings belief, trust, positive energy, touching the cup and being in the semi-final and beating someone in the final. It is that energy, and it creates the right path to go and do something else, particularly because of the timing and when the competition is played in this country, it gets that momentum going. And obviously, Mikel Arteta was once upon a time at Manchester City. Pep has picked up a number of those trophies, people. We have not lifted the League Cup since 1993, so I haven't seen that in my lifetime. I came into this world in 1995, people. And again, I don't know how you feel about Arsenal in the transfer market. Let me know. Do you think we're over-exaggerating our need to adapt and adjust and make additions in January? Or do you think I'm playing it down a bit? Let me know. But one thing we do need to remember, the language coming out of the club is that Arsenal will essentially move if there's outgoings, an injury crisis, and an offer too far to turn down. Mikel Arteta did say, I fully trust the squad, our players, and the amount of situations and things we generate in the match, how little we concede. I fully trust my players. It will depend on what player it is, the value of that player, if there is any other movements in the squad or not. So it's very difficult to answer. Now, obviously, even if Arsenal were to sign people in January, Mikel Arteta isn't really going to show his and Arsenal's hand. So you do have to take that with a pinch of salt. Arsenal have also been linked with another goalkeeper, this time Millier of Leeds, people, who's been out there for a while. And I mean, he is young, but you're not going to play first team football at Arsenal, so does it make sense? And for me, I'm not really with it, man. He's got too many mistakes in him. But anyways, people, Is there any other transfer stories about at the moment? There's a few. Arsenal are looking at a goalkeeper, possibly a goalkeeper could come in January. I've been given a name. The Leeds goalkeeper is someone I've been told I need to look into that. It's not from one of my top sources, if you like, but it's one we're keeping an eye on. Fair play at 5 million, you know, and he is in his early 20s. Fair enough, people, but he still plays the same way he did in the under-20 World Cup for France, and that he's a good shot stopper, but he's on making mistakes. He will do, like, he's a man that will do, like, I'm exaggerating, of course, but for 89 minutes, he will move like a prime Buffon, a prime Van der Sar, prime De Gea, whatever keeper you want, people. In the 90th minute, he'll move like Ospina or Almunia or something like that. And, you know, the best thing you can do as a young player is play games. You're not going to get that at Arsenal. Obviously, goalkeeping coach could get a trick out of you, but I'm not personally on that, man, if I'm honest with you. So who knows, man, what the transfer market holds for Arsenal Football Club.
He always used to have when